Oh, hey, cool. I I thought I lost this stitch marker. It's a little cat from Pink Sheep Design. Anyway, welcome to part 3 of Let's Make a Poet Shirt with Thorn. Hopefully, yes, we're going to do it. I'm just kind of nervous because it's my first wearable and kind of a bit overwhelming. But anyway, we're making the second draft of this. I will be making the main pattern short-sleeved because I live in California, but I think I'll give a long-sleeved option, so keep that in mind. If you happen to be following along with the blog post, which I'll link down below, I think I made a mistake on the instructions for the cables, and just bear in mind that if you're if it's fine if you crochet ahead of me, but you may find or encounter mistakes in the pattern. So it's supposed to be a braid, and the way that you achieve that is by, so there's a set of 3 tall stitches that you crochet around the posts of. I wrote, I think, do 3 and then 1 and 2. You're supposed to do 2 and 3 and then go back and do 1. Otherwise, like it's just a different look. But in any case, we're not quite to the cables yet. We're at the decorative stripe. That's what I've been calling this part. And the black diamonds are something I add on much later, but we have to do the tall stitches underneath here and the ridge part. I decided to add a second ridge under here, so I'll walk you through that. This project is living in my furls tote bag. Which I got for free with my order. If you want to see what else I got. Oh, that. Such as this Wander yarn, which is what we're using for the main color. Then, so if you want to see what else I got in that order, you can look at my video about how I entered a giveaway and won a $100 Furls gift card. So yeah, that was awesome and unexpected. Today I have tea. I decided to try making olive leaf tea because we have so many olive trees, because it's kind of a Mediterranean climate. I was looking up what exact climate Southern California counts as, and apparently it is a subtype of Mediterranean climate, or like a subtropical climate. So yeah, olive trees grow here. There are several on my street, and apparently olive leaves are safe to eat. Don't double check that with your own research. I'm not trying to give. I don't want to be liable for giving advice, but from what I can find out, it seems like they are safe, and you can make tea with them. So it doesn't really taste very strong yet, so I might put this sprig back in the water. It mostly just tastes like hot water and honey. But yeah, that's exciting. Besides crochet, I also love permaculture type things, and I'm trying to get into making a food garden for when I move. So like it may, I may just have it in flower pots, but at least I'll have some plants, which is nice. So anyway, oh, these these stitch markers came from Winter Nightmares shop, the CraftySilentlamb. So check that out on Etsy. And this is where we stopped the first time, and as you can see, I only did 4 more rows. Well, I did 6 more rows, but then I found that it was just let me make my chair bigger. Okay, it was just way too long or low for, which is weird because last time I did do 6 rows after I stopped at this point. So like the lace of V will be here, then the other panel will kind of go here and it'll lace up like that, and then this part is the neckline. It will have the neckline up to the shoulder, and this is the right front panel. It'll have a little picot edging and border. So let's see, what did I write for the decorative stripe? When the panel length is about halfway down your chest, I don't know if this would work on someone who has like a chest that looks different from mine now that I've had top surgery, if you take my meaning. But I wrote that I did it about an inch above the, I'm not sure if I can say that word on YouTube, but this. So yeah, but I don't know if that would fit differently on someone that was, yeah. Anyway, by the way, I am trans, hence the mention of top surgery. And I use he, him, his. So you end on an even row, which means you are on the armhole side of the panel. So over here, so this is my active stitch. That's why Mr. Yoga Skeleton is chilling there. Take him out. I think just to keep track of where I've been each time, I'll go ahead and put a different pink sheep stitch marker in here. It's this yellow sheep head outline with the ears and the wool all around. So cute. There's also a black one shaped like the sun, which I love for pagan reasons, but sadly I lost that one. Of course, I also thought I lost this cat head, so maybe it'll turn up. Right, we need our crochet elbow pillow, aka Lime, the perfectly spherical llama. I realize he's not perfectly spherical, but in our hearts he is. Chain 1. Cool, I think I've already got a chain 1 here. Turn. Single crochet across. I recommend 1 single crochet in each chain 1 space and 2 single crochet in the top of each V stitch. So on the top of this V, like right here, you would put 2 because that's on the top of the V, I believe, and then in the chain 1 space you would put 1. But the important thing is to make sure you have a multiple of 6 stitches. And that won't be important until the cables. So you can sort of fudge it if you realize you're off later, but if you want to know like what the official thing is, just so we have a roadmap. Let me just count to see if that will be a multiple of 6 if I do it the way I've recommended. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Then if I put 28, like just a second one in the turning chain, that'll be a multiple of 6, I think. No, I was wrong. 24 is a multiple of 6. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll do one less, or maybe I'll only do one in every other V and see how that works. So we'll do 1 here, 2, 2 in this V, 1 in this V, 2 in this V, 1 in this V, you do want to have a fairly, like, a lot of room for the cables, because part of the nice thing about the design is the cables, now I stutter, and so sometimes I'm like restarting to think of the best way to say this with the fewest blocks as I'm talking, but the nice thing about this is that the cables kind of stretch as they're going down over your stomach and stuff, which, you know, for my body type is nice. And that's one thing that makes me think it has a good chance of being able to be a size inclusive pattern, which is important to me. And it's kind of cool because mostly crochet doesn't stretch as much as knitting, but I think the cables somehow have a structure that lets them expand more. But yeah, let me, oh, I put 2 in the chain 1 space, so now we put 2 in the, so I undid that, and now we put 2 in the next top of the V, 1 in the next, two in the next, one in the next, and then this. Okay. Now let us count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, just need 2 more stitches. Wow. I'm going to put 2 more in this turning chain. I don't really care. I don't think it'll be a huge problem, and I'm like, just gotta do it. So now, chain 1, turn. We single crochet across once more, but only in the back loop of the previous ones. So this is how we create the ridge, because it's basically an extra line of single crochet that isn't, it's sticking out from the rest of the pattern, because next row we'll go back and pick up the other loops in this row, and the row that we're doing now we'll just kind of chill there. So right, in back loop only, these will be on the outside, so I'm facing the inside. That's why for me this is the back loop, but it's on the outside of the panel. Right. So I'm just going in the back loop, the one that's closer to the camera. Trying not to do this, but it's something I've always done when I'm concentrating, and I don't know if it's like stimming or what, because found out last year, I'm 30, that I've been autistic this whole time, which explains a lot. And not that stimming's bad or anything, but like it hurts my tongue when I do that, and yet I still do it because it just feels natural. I'll take my olive leaves out. It's not bad, but it just tastes like honey water. I wonder if you're supposed to like break or chop up the leaves somehow. Maybe the olive leaf juice isn't getting out. Flashback to when Iroh from Avatar was like, "This is just a hot leaf juice." I'm gonna tear a few of the leaves a bit and just see what happens. Okay, we've done row 2 in this part. Now we chain 1 and turn. and you will notice a line of unused loops in the previous row, so we're just going along and picking those up with a line of single crochet. And this is how the pattern actually, or the fabric actually continues. We build on this row, and the previous one is just kind of decorative. I saw this technique in like a wall hanging tutorial. I can't remember which one, but I thought, oh, that's cool. You can create texture. All right, I skipped ahead, but we're not at row 6 yet. Thankfully, because it's a bit complicated. Oh, okay. My phone told me, gave me a notification just now, so. Okay, now we chain 4 and turn. Now we have this double layer of single crochet, which is kind of cool. But in any case, we're only working in the one that is the one that we just did. So the turning chain is connected to this one that's closer to me. And that's our row, or the basis for the row we're doing now. So now we treble crochet in each single crochet across. You can do linked treble if you want to. That's what I did last time. Like if you want the same look, and there are tutorials on YouTube about how to do that. I realized that I don't really like that look, and I don't enjoy doing it because it takes a while. So the reason I did it was so that I could have some, like a fabric that didn't have any gaps, because with tall stitches they gap. But then I realized that the cable stitches will have tons of gaps anyway, so there's really no point in this particular pattern. But if you just like them and want to do them, then that's fine. But this time I want to see how non-linked treble looks underneath the zigzag, which I'll be using my accent yarn for, which is not black this time. It's one of the Shawl in a Ball by Lion Brand, which is sadly discontinued. But it's this really cool grayish brown silver autumn color, so I thought that would go well with the pumpkin orange. And it sparkles. which is always my top priority. I'm gonna put this on the floor because otherwise I'll keep trying to catch it before it rolls on the floor, and this way we can just give in and make peace with it. I'm going to try this tea. It's starting to taste more like something. I'm not sure what. Leaves? It's not bad. It's just I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm sure there's a science or an art to brewing fresh leaves for tea. I usually drink coffee, so I don't really know much about it. Almost done with the trebles. Kind of nice having the option to film during the day, because like last night I realized my original reason for filming at night was so that I wouldn't get in the way of the other people in the house, and that, like, I still do. So there's no point. I mean, I do like being up at night, but lately I'm just too tired. So it's just, I'm just as likely to find a quiet spot, a quiet space of time during the day. So, right, our trebles are done. I kind of like that non-linked look, and it just has that little row of columns. Chain one, turn, and we single crochet across, just normal, both of the loops, single crochet. Although next time we are doing the back loop, so prepare yourself. Trying not to make these longer than about 45 minutes, but maybe I can get to the start of the cables and then we can just go on straight until morning. The cables take a long time, but that would give me something to work on until the next one. And actually at that point I could just show you the end of how I finished the front, at least this section of the front panel, the right front panel, because the cables are you just go until the length that you want, aside from the hem, but that's a separate part, the split hem. And then we could start on the second one, the left front panel, which is mirrored, so I have to kind of think hard about how to make it look the same but reversed. But we could start on that next time if I get down to the cables in a few minutes. Right, continue single crocheting across. And since we started with the 4 chains for the first treble crochet, we do our last single crochet in the turning chain. Now we chain 1 and turn. Wow. It is interesting that this is slanting out kind of a lot, because I added a couple extra stitches to the turning chain. So that's just something to keep in mind when you do alter things, which I fully encourage you to do, but sometimes you don't always know how they'll turn out. So I might make the lace up go that whole length, and there's kind of an inward dip here, so I might just compensate for that with how I do the contrast color edging here. So that's me thinking ahead about that. So single crochet across in the back loop only, and it will be on the same side as this one because it kind of frames this row. That was some packing tape. It's kind of confusing because when you turn and do single crochet, you chain 1 and then start in the first stitch, but when you do a tall stitch, you chain 2 or 3 or 4 and then skip the first stitch. And I feel like if you're a beginner, that is really hard to that's not obvious, and people don't always think to tell you because it's kind of basic, but like a really important thing to know. I've had situations where the sides of my crochet just kept going in and out, and I wasn't sure why. But I think that's probably why. Because I would try to compensate for one by doing the other one, but it just ended up being kind of wavy. Okay, now is the tricky bit. This is the front of our panel, but we also want to create the side. So we have to chain some extra number of stitches. Now that we're past the armhole, we have to chain more. Like we're down here, and now we have to chain more so that we can cover the side, and that chain will be the top of the side panel. But after this, like it's all worked as one with the front panel on this side. and then the same is true over here. So hope that makes sense. The pattern is a little bit different to just add some interest to the sides and the front, but it is all the same row. You just go back and forth. And now we have to kind of, pardon me, we have to chain some more and measure what we want. However, you need to chain an odd number, not counting the starting chain of the next row. So an odd number, which is where you want it. An odd number of chains that takes it to the place on your side that you want it to be, and then the turning chain is on top of that. It's extra. Let me see if I have an odd number, because this is a pretty good number. A pretty good place. I'm not sure exactly, but it'll. I feel like it's a pretty forgiving garment in terms of size, because I made the last one kind of on the bigger side because I knew I wanted to cinch the back with a lace-up panel. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, cool. So that's an odd number. Although I think I have something like a strand that isn't quite like the yarn's almost split but not quite. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now it's row 7, so chain 1 and turn. So now I have 10 total chains, but one of them is the turning chain. And single crochet in each loop across, or in each chain across. I don't think it really matters if the starting chain gets twisted around in this. It'll just kind of add interest. So do it in whichever loop you feel most comfortable with, because working into chains is hard. I want my crochet YouTuber lore to be that I don't like working in chains, which sounds funny, like free me, but no, I don't like working in crochet chains. But sometimes you have to. Sorry if you can hear my Mr. Skeleton stitch marker whacking on the edge of my laptop. For that matter, I keep hearing a weird like bump, or sometimes, I'm not sure what to call it, but it's when I adjust my chair and I was like, it's not doing it now, traitor. When you want to show someone something, then it stops doing it. So I think I'll have a better chair that is, well, better for me and doesn't make weird bump sounds or squeaks. That'll be something that I'll budget for in my new place. So let's see. So there's my little chain plus single crochet at the start of this row, and I have to check to make sure I have 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yay! And then I single crochet continuing across, but in the unused loops of row 5. And so I just leave row 6 as an extra ridge. so now there are two, and they're, they're on either side of a valley of treble crochets. When you go back to pick up the unused loop, you will find that the stitch you're currently on before the beginning of the row is a little bit further away than usual from the stitch that you want to pick up, but I don't really think it, like I'm finding that I don't need to chain an extra one to reach that stitch. It just kind of naturally closes the gap. I hope that made sense. And next row we're starting the cables, so that's exciting. I really love cables, they're fun to do. I'm glad that the splinter or something that I got on my finger is mostly healed, because it was hard to do cables because I had to put pressure on that finger. Okay. I think that's the last one. Anyway. So, it is time. We should be starting from the edge of our panel closest to the neck and chest, not the side seam, which is easy to tell at this point because this is the side, this extra bit. So I'm not, as you can see, I'm not on that side because my hook's over here. It's a little bit lemony, so it's starting to have a nice taste. I mean, not that it had a bad taste before, it just didn't. I was like, what am I supposed to be looking for? So row 1 of the cables. So I started a new row count for this part, or this part, because we're going. It's upside down, so we're working up. Chain 3, double crochet across, and that goes for the entire row, both the front part and the side part. Well, this will be a little bit closer to the first one in length, but that's fine. I'll try to make them each about an hour. Like between half an hour and an hour. I'm surprised we got through one of the sections in 3 parts. I was expecting it to take much longer. But that is nice. It gives me encouragement for the rest of the pieces of the garment. Because while we do have a lot of cable rows to do, they're all the same. So we can just go off and do them, and then come back and reconvene. Speaking of, I would love to have another live, or to do another live. That might have to wait till I'm in my own place, because, well, I have done them here. Like, it's just, it'll be easier when I'm not struggling with other people's schedules and stuff, because you can't really edit things out during a live, but it is really fun to interact with people. And I really admire how Kayla from Altmots has kind of made her bi-weekly lives a thing, or twice weekly, yeah. And like a community has formed around that, which is, it's just a really great group. I'm going to that live later. But I wanted to get a video in first. But I should be, like, I'm really hoping and expecting to be moved before Halloween, but I don't know how soon. I'm currently just waiting on the next thing that I need to hear about. And it's hard to wait. I know it should be in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but it could be sooner, so I'm like... It's the full-length panel. And now it's row 2 of the cable part. Chain 3, turn, and we skip the first double crochet because that's kind of taken up by the chain, as I mentioned earlier. And then we go to the next one, but we're not working into the top, we're working around the post. So we work a front post treble around the post, and I don't think I'm set up really to tell you exactly how to do this, so I would recommend that you watch a tutorial, but I will show you what it looks like. So this treble crochet is anchored not in the top of the stitch, but around this post. So it kind of sticks out, like it runs up in the same way as a normal stitch, but it's kind of raised, so it creates that cable texture. Apparently that's what a cable is, at least in crochet. So and then we double crochet into the top of the next double crochet, and you'll notice when you're looking for the next double crochet there's an empty space behind, because that's the double crochet that you worked into the post of, so you skip that one. And we keep doing this until we reach the main part, so just make sure that there's an empty space, an empty double crochet in between each one as you're doing the double crochets in the top, and alternate with the front post treble crochets, which create the cables. And likewise, when you're doing the next cable, you skip the one that has a double crochet on top of it and go around the next one. Just finish this up and then show you, and then we can start on the front part of the panel, which has the braided cables, which are extra fun, both in the sense of being more difficult and also just being really pretty and fun. And in my first version with this part, I varied the placement of the cables a bit, so I didn't alternate them all the way across one to one. I had some um, um, artistic gaps. But for this one, I just wanted to keep it simple, so you can change how the cables are placed if you want to. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, we are. It is time. Oh, good. I was worried that I mistakenly said double crochet when I hadn't done a row of that, but in this case, the pattern is correct. So when we get to the front panel, we work a front post treble crochet around the next double crochet. And this is where I messed up the instructions for the braid. So then we skip one post. Oh, right. I want to go ahead and just show you the beginning of the like striped cable section here. And now for the braid, we skip one post, go to the next one, and do our front post treble crochet. Then we do the same with the next one. So we have a group of 3 posts here, and we skip the first one and then do the second and then the third, and then we go back. We cross in front and go back into the first one, which we skipped, and create a front post treble crochet. There are also tutorials on braided cables in case it would help for someone to like have the top down camera angle and stuff. And see this little twisted cable thing is our first section of braid, so that's cool. And in this pattern, the cables, or the braids, which are cables but they're twisted, are bounded on either side by just a normal cable which runs up. So after those 3, you go to the next post after the 3 that are taking up the braid, and do a front post treble crochet so that you have like a line or 2 lines of columns and then a braid in the center. And then for the next post, we don't do anything. Instead, we work in the top of that stitch and just do a regular double crochet. And that can be hard to tell exactly which, like the top of which stitch you're supposed to work in. So in the back here, there will be 5 empty tops of the previous row's double crochets, and you work into the 6th one. Yeah. There are 5 the empty ones where you worked around the post, and then the 6th one is the double crochet, and we repeat that across. So I'm gonna continue doing that. Second, I'm gonna have to rewrite this cable part of the pattern, but that's fine. I was so proud of myself for just describing the braid as clearly as I possibly could, but then I messed up the order of the cables. And this is why we needed oh right, this is a double crochet. This is why we needed it to be a multiple of 6. So that this pattern would work out. And we're almost to the point where I can tell you just repeat this row and this row, but not quite, because the beginning row of the cables is a bit different from the other ones. It's almost the same, but instead of working around the posts of the double crochet in the previous row, you work around the cables themselves. So we'll do that. I forgot the regular cable. You know what's weird? I only have not enough stitches left. Well, let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And this is after adding those extra 2. So I don't really want to change it hugely, so I think I'm going to add another 2 and hope it works out this time. Forgot to skip one. Actually, I've used up all the posts, so I'm just going to put a double crochet at the end and pretend that that's kind of, that'll be like a decorative seam down the middle, because I won't quite have a full pattern in the center, but at least it'll be kind of, as long as I can make it symmetrical. But I have no idea how I lost 2 stitches in between here somehow. I was afraid that I had miscalculated the number of stitches that you need, like a multiple of 6, but no, you really do. It's just that I don't have that. So in any case, chain 1, and we're working across the back of the panel now, so we're not doing cables. That's only the front side rows. So you just single crochet across the tops of each double crochet and each treble crochet, and since the treble crochets are a bit lower than the double crochets because they're worked around the posts instead of the tops, when you're going across the single crochets, like, it's all basically the same height, which is nice. As I watch as I edit my videos, I've noticed I say which is nice a lot. I mean, it's a good phrase for what I want to communicate most of the time. Like, I don't have anything else to say about that, but you know, it's cool. These rows are much faster because it's just single crochet all the way across. And we single crochet in the turning chain as well. And then for row 4, oh, and that was row 3, this single crochets. Row 4 is, I think, the last row we'll do, because after this I can tell you just repeat row 3 and 4 until it hits you where you want it to hit you, keeping in mind that this split hem will be added on after that. So mine, like, hits me just below the stomach, maybe about hip height, so I felt like that was a good area. Right, chain 3. I chained 1 previously. Skip first, double crochet, and then work a front post treble around the previous front post treble, so it just becomes a running cable down the length of the pattern. That's just a little raised line. And then double crochet in the next single crochet, skipping the single crochet that's right behind the cable. So like the previous row, the previous right side row, except instead of double crochets, you're working into the tops of single crochets and you're working around the posts of the front post treble. And we just alternate that until we get to the front part. Yep, we're skipping a single crochet in the back. gotten to the front, and the first part is easy. We continue, just making sure I didn't mess up. Okay. we continue front post treble crocheting around the next front post treble, the straight line, and then for the braid, as you can see, it has like 3 strands, which is really hard to see, but when I say 1, 2, and 3, I mean I'm numbering them by the tops because they do cross over. So I'm numbering the tops of the strands. So again, skip the first one that's on, whose top is on the right side, and then front post treble around the post of the second one, and then the third one, and then cross in front, not in back. I'm not sure how to do that yet, but I'm sure that you can. But anyway, you pull your hook back and go for the front one, the first one that you missed earlier, or that you skipped. Missed sounds like it wasn't on purpose, but I think I crocheted somehow into the top of that stitch instead of the post. So yeah, I'm crocheting around the second stitch, counting from where they're anchored on the top. Then I'm crocheting around the third stitch, which it's the one that crosses in front from this side up to that side. So up here it's the third stitch, but down here it's the first one. So that's why I'm saying that I'm counting from the top. Then you come back and crochet around the first stitch. That's our second section of braid. And then the next one is just a straight cable, and you crochet around the, see, it's a raised line. You do a front post treble around the previous front post treble, and then we count 5 empty tops in the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double crochet into the 6th one, and repeat until the end of the row. Hopefully you have a full multiple, that's the word, of 6, unlike me. But if not, just do your best, or frog, that's also an option. I just realized oh wait, you can see Benrose. My play and pause button is over him, but here he is, watching me crochet. I should remake that reel that I made a while ago where he was like, goats do not understand crochet, but goats like crochet. Goats think it is fancy fur. That was the end of the reel. I had a different project on him at that point, but he was just so cute. So yeah, I think I'll just finish this one, and then we will reconvene when I've gotten this as long as I want it. Apparently we only have 3 repeats, well, 3 and a bit, 3.5 repeats of the pattern on this panel, for me anyway. I think it's narrower than it was last time because of how well, at least this part is narrower because it ended up curving in on the armhole side. But I did try to measure where I actually wanted it when we added width under the arm, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I have people telling me they want to make this, and I'm really excited. Speaking of exciting, I think something fell over upstairs, but it doesn't sound like anyone's hurt. But I have people telling me they want to make this, and it's really exciting, but I'm also nervous because I'm like, I barely know if I can make it a second time. I mean, I'm going to, but it's like, how do I make sure the pattern is good? But that's why feedback is really helpful. So if you do end up making it, you know, please let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. Almost done. And this is going to be a long one. That's okay. I feel like, you know, realistically, as long as they're under 2 hours, it's fine. That's about expected for a crochet along, or not exactly a live, but this is kind of live-ish. So I've done my last braid, and because of my particular one, I have to just do a double crochet and to call it good, but technically there should be another straight cable after this. So I'll just anchor this in the last single crochet, and the reason I like to anchor it with a double crochet or like some non-cable stitch afterwards is because otherwise you get it kind of, the cable kind of flops around because it's not anchored in the usual way that the other stitches are. So it's nice to have something at the edge that just kind of keeps it in place. Anyway, then you chain one and go back across with single crochet, and then so that's row 3, except now it's row 5, but like all of the odd rows are the same after that. And then the one we just did was row 4 of the cable section, and we continue with that for all of the even rows until it's the length that you want. Let me try this. I'm gonna move you. My stand fell over. Okay. Yeah, it is a very big armhole, but I don't like armholes to be tight, so. Also, we still have to add the sleeve. There's there's lime with my crochet hook resting on him. Let's pick up the stand. There. Okay. Now we can see bandros. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Let me know how it goes. How it goes. I'm gonna have to start saying that. And I'll see you in the next video. And thank you so much for all the new subscribers and commenters and like all of that. This is really awesome. You are helping my dreams come true, basically. So yeah, thanks.